We don't brag in this channel. It's not our thing, except when it's Leo season and it's my birthday. Hello everyone, my name is Fifi and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, nice to meet you. If you're back, thank you for being here again. We are going to go through the books I received or I got for the month of July. I divided my books into piles based on where I got them from. First, fully booked. Second, biblio. Third, the Big Bad Wolf sale. And the fourth are books from friends. I'm gonna start with my fully booked stack because fully booked had the audacity to have a mid-year sale on my birth month. Imagine. First, we have A Nervous Breakdown by Anton Chekov. Chekov is a Russian playwright that I know mostly because of theater. I was introduced to his philosophy about creating an inner life or having an inner event as a sort of imaginative approach to kind of your truth or the truth of the moment. Pick this up because I was a huge fan of The Seagull. It's one of his most famous plays. If you haven't read The Seagull, please, I highly recommend it. It's about artists, specifically 4 artists who tackle about their role in the world and about love, especially if you are an artist yourself in whatever field, in whatever form. If you have the creative mind, the creative spirit, read The Seagull because it is for you. Which is why I picked up A Nervous Breakdown. I saw this in fully booked. It's one of the Penguin Classics number 111. It's called A Nervous Breakdown and it called to me, okay? 3 disturbing tales of supernatural hallucinations, hysterical obsession, and moral decay. It got me at hysterical obsession, okay? Next, we have Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne. And okay, listen, I love Brendan Fraser. I also love Josh Hutcherson even more. So having those two in a movie together, chef's kiss. You see, we all know that Mr. Jules Verne is sci-fi king, and I just wanted to find out if I'm going to love this book as much as I love seeing Peter Millark and George of the Jungle in one screen. And I know this isn't exactly what it was in the movie or how it was in the movie, but I think it has some similarities. Of course, they Americanized that one. But this one is also about a professor who is German stumbling upon a mysterious ancient manuscript about a pathway or a route to the center of the earth, and then he brings his nephew with him and they travel to the Earth's core. That was just one of those movies that I watched non-stop as a child. I could not stop playing that movie over and over again every weekend, every day of my life. And now that I want to get into classics, a little birdie told me that Verne is your guy if you want that classic kick. I guess if you want to get into the Brontes, Tolstoy, all the romantics, you have to get with the nerds first. You know, the geeks. And Mr. Verne, he is the nerdiest of nerds when it comes to science fiction. Speaking of nerds, we have another one. H.G. Wells, and I picked up The Sea Raiders, number 84 of the Little Black Penguin Classics. And I know these two, Verne and Wells, are in the runner for Sci-Fi King, or the label Sci-Fi King. It's always the two of them when we talk about historical science fiction. I do have one of H.G. Wells's books, I can see it over there, called The Food of the Gods. I think that one is about like experiments gone wrong. This one, The Sea Raiders, it says here it is a spellbinding short stories of man-eating squid, magicians, and monstrous machines from the father of science fiction. But it says here the father of science fiction, although if you go to another Verne book, it says father of science fiction. So who do we believe? I want to figure it out for myself, who I like more, whose writing style I understand more, first of all. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This is a super duper popular crime thriller. A woman who shot his husband 5 times in the head, but then stops speaking right after the crime is committed, so nobody knows the whole story except her. This criminal psychotherapist, however, is super adamant and jumping into solving this case and getting the woman, what is her name, Alicia, to talk. The guy is determined to spill the beans, and I guess he encounters, I don't know, a lot of horrors because everyone keeps on saying that this blew their mind. The twist at the end was epic, and I'm looking forward to that because I love crime thrillers spy stuff, murder mysteries. This is my thing. Summer Crossing by Truman Capote. This is what they call the lost novel that inspired Breakfast at Tiffany's. I haven't read Breakfast at Tiffany's. This is my first Truman Capote book. This was discovered right after everything else of his was published. This was the most recently unearthed masterpiece of his. And I guess it's true to his writing style because he also wrote about a really free-spirited heroine. This one is about a girl named Grady McNeil who is beautiful, rich, and sort of a defiant woman. Falls in love. I don't know if she falls in love, but it says here she's entangled in an affair with a Brooklyn-born Jewish parking attendant. And of course, you know, that's a big deal, big scandal. She's a rich elite and you know, commoner. It's a modern classic, and I want to get into classics, like I said, but a lot of old works tend to not really be accessible in terms of language, so I'm kind of trying to dip my toes into modern ones and work my way back. Slouching Towards Bethlehem by Joan Didion. This is a non-fiction, and the reason why I got something non-fiction in the first place is because of our girl boss, Miss Carly Thorne. Joan Didion is one of her favorite authors, and everybody knows that I am all up Carly Thorne's butt cheeks. What I'm scared of though is one of her favorite books is Normal People by Sally Rooney, and I didn't really connect with that book like she did. So I'm kind of scared that we don't really have the same taste. Well, I know. You know what? Why am I scared? I know we don't have the same taste. She's so smart, girl. She's so sophisticated. I just love reading my trashy romance books. But alas, it's Miss Joan Didion. Most of her works, I think, are actually permutations of themes surrounding Hollywood life or countercultures of Hollywood life. It's an essay collection of sorts, written memoir style because it's about her life growing up in California and San Francisco. And I feel like when it comes to essays, I am going to like it. When it comes to nonfiction, I feel like I can be more subjective. I am sort of feeling like I'm going to love this, and I feel like she's going to take over my life. The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. She came from nothing, they have everything, let the games begin. And I think that's the whole summary of the book, because this is actually a mystery thriller, modern Cinderella kind of story, where we have a girl who is nobody, and suddenly she inherits this fortune from a billionaire who just died. Tobias Hawthorne just disinherited 4 of his grandchildren. 4? Yeah, 4 grandsons that he disinherited. So these 4 grandsons hate her now, and she has to live with them in the mansion that she inherited. And I know what you're thinking. Yes. Which is exactly why I bought this. We are here for it. It's been everywhere on the internet, and the sequel to this is actually coming out this year, I think. So I'm actually glad I picked this up this year and not the year it was released, maybe last year, because I cannot wait for a sequel. I am not that type of person. I want things today. And the last thing I bought and fully booked is my greatest prized possession today, and it is this book by Elizabeth Lim called 6 Crimson Cranes. And I want you guys to just stare at this masterpiece of a book. Stare at this face. Is it focusing? It better. If it's not focusing, I'm sorry. This is an Asian retelling of the story The Six Swans by the Grimm brothers. This is about a princess, Chiyori. She is betrothed to I don't know who, and on the day of the ceremony she loses control and reveals that she actually has forbidden magic. Her stepmother banishes her and turns her brothers into cranes. Princess in exile, a shape-shifting dragon, 6 enchanted cranes, and an unspeakable curse. And that sounds awesome. Okay, the next stack of books is from the store Biblio. If you are not familiar with Biblio, they are a secondhand bookshop. My favorite Biblio branch is in Ayala the 30th. My safe haven. I love it there. I can spend literally the entire day in that store. The first book I got from Biblio is this guy, and I know, do I have a Jules Verne obsession? Maybe. you know what? Maybe I am obsessed with this sci-fi king. I am just so intrigued by the whole like start of the sci-fi revolution. Also because I'm still like, this was supposed to be the second movie of Brendan Fraser and Josh Hutcherson for like the sequel to A Journey to the Center of the Earth, but it never happened. I am upset, but you know, I am so enamored by this cover. Look at that. Sorry, I look like a weirdo without an eye peeking like right beside. It's about sea monsters, I'm guessing, because there's an like, well, an octopus is not a sea monster, but I'm guessing they're talking about an unknown object underwater. So it's either sea monsters or aliens. A Small Town in Germany by John le Carre. And I know what you're thinking. Fifi, how old are you? Why are you reading John le Carre? Okay, listen. I love espionage films. I haven't actually necessarily dived into espionage books, so I want to get into that. And I know there are a lot of other modern or recent authors writing about espionage, but John le Carre, he's a classic. Is that even how you pronounce his last name? Le Carre? Le Carre? This dude is essentially the John Grisham, Tom Clancy, Daniel Silva of like the 90s, of the 60s. Is about a small town in Germany called Bonn, and the British embassy there loses a couple of documents, very highly classified files that could potentially aid the resurgence of a neo-Nazi sort of movement. So our protagonist here, it's his job to get those files back, and I love that. You know, I love a straightforward plot, beginning, middle, end. Guy has to save I love it. I also got Bel Canto by Ann Patchett. And I know this is a very famous bestseller. I don't know where I've been seeing this, but I saw this in Biblio and it was very familiar to me. I think this is what I see like dads read all the time. And I don't know if that's a good thing that I picked this up, but when I read the blurb at the back, I was very interested. A lavish birthday party that was held in South America where politicians and businessmen were involved, and then a terrorist attack happened. They were held hostage. However, it says here that the terrorists and hostages forge unexpected bonds and people from different continents become compatriots. So I'm really intrigued by that. I mean, I am a diplomacy major. This one I am kind of proud for finding in Biblio. I am so happy. This is one of my best buys in Biblio. This is called Plays for Actresses. It's just a collection of plays for actresses. So these are plays with mainly female roles, or if not all female roles. So we have playwrights Albee, Blessing, Cunningham, Gallagher. We even have some Wooten, Rivera, Jose Rivera, and Paula Vogel here. So I am so excited. I've been wanting to get back into script reading, so I picked this up. This was so cheap. This was like $2.50. There's also some Tina Howe here. So if I find any plays here that are worth like actually super good, I will like maybe recommend. If anybody wants to talk about plays, I actually kind of want to talk about plays. Do you want to hear me talk about plays? Let me know. Paradise by Judith McNaught. And the reason why I bought this is when you look at the back, there is beautiful Judith, and it says here a main selection of the Book of the Month Club. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty convinced that I should pick this up. This cover, isn't it so pretty? It reminds me of like a 60s, like it has a 60s vibe. I actually thought this was like a thriller, but surprisingly, it's a chick lit romance novel between two people from different classes. The man is kind of like a corporate raider trying to climb his way up the food chain. The woman, Meredith, is like a rich executive of her family's business. So she inherited her family's business. I think they got married at the beginning of the story. I'm not super sure, but they were in a relationship. It didn't work out because of, you know, I think like class discrimination from the parents. I'm not really sure if I'm saying this correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. But based on the blurb, I think that's what happened. And then a few years later, the guy, what's his name? Matthew, was able to climb up his the social ladder, and he meets Meredith again, and maybe, I don't know, I guess things spark, but of course they have that elephant in the room. So yeah, I am pretty excited. I think this is funny. I mean, she looks like she writes funny stories. My third stack of books is, funnily enough, not here with me today. I don't have them physically because I got them from the Big Bad Wolf sale from last July. Lo and behold, they're still not here. To those of you who also bought from the Big Bad Wolf sale, do you have your books? I'm kind of pretty upset because even though I got good deals, I mean, it's been a month. First is a book called Sophie and the Sybil, a Victorian romance by Patricia Duncker. This is a historical fiction Victorian romance about a guy named Max Duncker who was caught between his childhood friend Sophie and a celebrity author Sybil. And okay, I don't really like love triangles. It's not one of my favorite tropes. I don't want to say I hate it because I still read it, but it's not my thing. Why did I buy this book? I don't know. I guess I was just curious about a romantic comedy-ish type of writing set in a Victorian era style. It doesn't say it's a romantic comedy, but a lot of the reviews on this book say that it was very funny and lighthearted, and a lighthearted book in the Victorian era? The inaugural meeting of the Fairvale Ladies Book Club by Sophie Green. This is another historical fiction romance about 5 women who live in a remote town in Australia, and I think they were isolated because of some hurricane or like a natural disaster. I don't know, I guess everyone was feeling pretty lonely, so they formed this book club for women, and I don't know the rest, but I like the cover. The Whale, a love story by, who wrote this? Mark Beaureugard. Needless to say, I have no idea what this story is about. I bought it purely for the title. Whales are my favorite sea creatures, and if it's a love story called The Whale, I will purchase it. The Snack Thief by Andrea Camirelli. This is an Italian-based crime thriller novel, and is actually part of a series called the Inspector Montalban series, because Inspector Montalban is our protagonist here. He is the detective. Don't know what else it's about, but it has the highest Goodreads rating, and I was so intrigued by the covers of these books and the fact that it's based in Italy, so I don't know. Not a Penny More, Not a Penny Less by Jeffrey Archer. Oh my gosh. I love Jeffrey Archer. If you haven't read And Thereby Hangs a Tale, it's his collection of short stories about espionage. He's just such a witty writer when it comes to, what is it? It's just basically a collection of short stories. I love that book. I have a specific story there that is my favorite. I forgot what it was. So this one is a mystery crime novel about 4 strangers who were conned by one man. So these 4 strangers are all rich people, but they were conned. They lost all of their money, respectively, and now they are plotting this revenge scheme on this con man. The setting, I think, is in Monte Carlo. I'm so into these types of adventures. The last book I got from the Big Bad Wolf sale is Kitty Peck and the Music Hall Murders. This is a YA murder mystery, and I know there's a trend to the books I buy. I don't know why murder mystery is my thing. It really just is. In this one, we have a 17-year-old music hall in West End where dancers suddenly disappear. So the Kitty, our main protagonist, is a seamstress for that music hall, and she gets entangled in the crime scene. I guess the adventure is going to be about her trying to clear her name, I don't know, or solve the crime in itself. And I guess I picked this up because it's a murder mystery set in the West End. Isn't that the best plot ever for a thespian kid who loves crime? It is. And my last stack of books I have here are gifts from my wonderful, wonderful friends and family who I love to death. And the first one we have here is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I'm not even gonna tell you what this book is about because you should know. Actually, no, you shouldn't. it's written by a white man, so you don't have to. I just love this edition. This is the Victoria and Albert edition with the Penguin Random House publishing house. And this was given by my dear friend Erica. Erica, if you're watching this, I love you. This is a gorgeous edition, and she wrote a little note for me at the start of the book, and I really love that. I really love it when people give books and write notes. Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid, one of the most popular books this year, or like last year, or this year. 2020, okay, last year. It says the 2020 Booker Prize, and this was given to me by my dear friend Julia Delgado from the channel. Julia Delgado, if you haven't subscribed to her, why are you still here? So this is a contemporary fiction about Alex Chamberlain, who is a feminist entrepreneur, and her babysitter, or the babysitter of her kids, Amira. Amira finds herself apprehended in a sort of high-end supermarket because she is accused of allegedly kidnapping what's her name? Alex's children. And I guess everything goes downhill from there. It's obviously a story about race, class, identity, and I want to know what the hype is. This is in everybody's favorite book list, and maybe I want to put this in my favorite book list too. And it's one of Carly Thorne's favorite books, so. Oh, would you look at that? Another nonfiction? Another essay collection? Thief. Trick Mirror by Gia Tolentino. This is a collection of essays about politics, culture, social media, and Gia Tolentino is actually a Filipino American, so it's going to be interesting to see the cross-culture references. I'm hoping there is, but interesting to see this in the lens of a biracial person. And I don't know, I've just been wanting to read a lot of essay collections or essays in general lately, especially with the state of the world right now. I want to educate myself and, you know, become a cultured kid. So this is given to me by my friend Kai and her mom. I love you guys. Thank you so much for giving me this book. Also, my next book is also given by them, Kai and Tita Ludette. I love you guys so much. This is Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. And I don't know why I want to read this book other than this is in Namjoon's recommendations list. Absurd, I know. But don't we all just want a Namjoon in our lives? This is, I think, a book that tackles magical realism and fantasy. I don't know much about it. I have not read a Haruki Murakami book, and I know this isn't the best place exactly to start with Murakami. I think people have been telling me to start with Norwegian Wood because that's his most accessible work. Last but not the least, oh my god guys, we're in the last book. We have 27 books here. The last is, I think, my favorite out of all these beautiful books. This one was given to me by my sister, who is in the other side of this wall. Ang, say hi! She can't hear me. And that is Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. Okay, listen. Twilight was a cultural reset. And I don't care if you disagree with me, those books changed my life. I was always a Team Edward girl. I don't know about you guys. A lot of my friends were also Team Jacob, but I personally was Team Edward all the way. I never wavered. I never, even in New Moon, Taylor Lautner was taking off his shirt. I was like, dude, you look fine, but I am Team Edward. And now that we have this, does any other book matter? I don't even want to go to the Twilight isn't perfect discussion and Edward was a stalker and like, okay, you know what, fine. I acknowledge all of the red flags, all of the like questionable things he's done, and I mean, he's 300 years old, and I'm like, okay, let me live. I loved this when I was 12, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to love this. I don't know, I already have like a big feeling. This doesn't have the best ratings on Goodreads. Honestly, I am going to be the exception. I don't know, guys. I'm a Stephanie Meyer stan, and I'm sorry if this really disappointed you. Oh my god. Oh my god, guys. Listen, I haven't opened this book, but listen to the dedication of Stephanie Meyer. This book is dedicated to all the readers who have been such a happy part of my life in the last 15 years. When we first met, many of you were young teenagers with bright, beautiful eyes full of dreams for the future. I hope that in the years that have passed, you've all found your dreams and oh my god, and that the reality of them was even better than you'd hoped. Stephanie Meyer! What is... Wow, I love this woman. I am part of the Stephanie Meyer cult. Oh my gosh, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for swinging by my channel. I hope you like this little brag video. I'm really not bragging at all. I just wanted to share with you this is essentially my TBR for the next few months. I'm on a book buying ban, okay? I'm on a book buying ban until probably like the end of September because I am ridiculous and I have no self-control. So yes, thank you so much for swinging by my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like this video if you did, no pressure, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, good night, good morning, good afternoon. Drink your water. Oh, by the way, stay safe. The Delta variant right now, guys, crazy, insane. Stay home, wear your masks, and keep safe. Mwah.